We have John Barrows in the studio, along with Colonel Danny McKnight, me, Christopher Hart. We have Mike on the line. Mike, thank you for calling. We appreciate you being out there.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. And John, I was wondering, I have two points, but I've tried to research this. Do you happen to know how many women were dying from backstreet abortions before Roe versus Wade? And the reason I'm asking is, if let's say it was 10,000 a year, the numbers don't match. You know, I mean, 50 million, 10,000 a year. That means, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I had an image of 10,000 women a year taking care of 10,000 babies that are killed in heaven. You get my drift? I mean, why is it doesn't make sense. If there's only 10,000, I don't know how many there were to make 50 million babies acceptable. You get my drift on this?
I think what you're saying is that because women were dying because of backstreet abortions, that's one reason why Roe v. Wade was decided as it was.
Exactly.
But as it turns out, more lives are being lost as a result of Roe v. Wade than would have been saved by it. I don't think any of us can really, I don't know what we can say about that other than...
Yeah, well, I'm wondering what statistics the courts had in front of them, if any, and it doesn't, I mean, we're all about stats, science, all these things that are thrown at us, that, you know, these smart people who should govern us because they know better than us are always saying this. And then the other thing is I heard earlier that Thursday's Bring Your Bible to School week, or day, and my kids are bringing, because when the Bible becomes subversive, it's time to read it. I mean, because it was subversive when Jesus was preaching his gospel. Yeah. And it's just a couple thoughts. I have strange thoughts. My mind is not wrapped too tight, but it explores all kinds of different ideas. So. All
right. Well, thanks. I appreciate the call, Mike, and thank you for listening and continue to call. But the point about numbers and statistics, at the end of the day, John, I don't think they matter much in this debate, do they?
No, sir. I mean, life is life. The Bible, if you try to throw the Bible out, this is how we end up with where they are. But the Bible shows us in the book of Ruth, for instance, the very last chapter, it says God granted conception to Ruth. It's God that grants conception. In Psalm 139, King David thanks God for what he calls being fearfully and wonderfully made in the secret place. And it's like God is like this master artist that is just growing. A totally unique, even science tells us there'll never be another one like person. Right. And then in Exodus chapter 21, we see what God thinks of this, because there's a scene there where a man hurts a lady who's pregnant, and she miscarries. The baby dies, and God required the life of the man that hurt her. It says life for life. That baby in the womb is the life of the person.
Yeah. We were talking during the break, Colonel. You said that one thing that really bothers you about this society is the lack of fathers participating. And John, give us that statistic that you talking about, numbers that you just told us.
Yeah, it's really troubling, because the reason I asked is asking crisis pregnancy centers is because I can go to that clinic today, and as you all know, even with this camera on here, I don't look like Brad Pitt. And
don't sell yourself short.
No, but I've always wondered, why will these girls come up? Because they will every day. It's a conversation. They'll say, "Young lady," and they'll come over, and I'll talk to them. And I've always wondered why. And I've asked every crisis pregnancy center that I've ever been to or spoken to directors, and the same statistic comes up, that they ask on the sheet of paper how many girls had a good relationship with their father when they come to have an abortion. And it's 1 in 2. See,
1 in 200. That's the reason they're talking to you, though, John. You're the father that they're looking for. And I just know from speaking to you just enough to know that you are the kind that they want to talk to because of who you are, what you believe, what you're doing. You're not going to chastise them. You're not there to do that. And they probably had a father that did that, many of them. And so you're the one. That's the reason they'll talk to you, John. I tell you right now, there's no doubt in my mind. They walk up to you, and probably from the moment you open your mouth, they said, "This is the father I didn't have." And that's what you become very quickly.
And you also made the point that you think that the lack of fathers, is a huge problem in our society.
It's not just a huge problem. It is a gigantic problem, in my opinion, in our country, because it seems to me too often that when the young man or young lady gets in trouble, you will see the mother association with that son or daughter, but you don't see the father. And yeah, that personally bothers me.
Well, the kid that shot those people in Oregon was living with his mother. His father pretty much hadn't had anything to do with him for years.
That's right.
The fellow that shot the Sandy Hook, and same thing.
Mother.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, when we come back, don't forget, folks, we're still here until 7 o'clock on the airwaves, FM 105.5 and AM 660, The Answer.